I guess it kind of started probably back when me and Mikey actually were pulled into that Corona trip, and we sort of formed a bit of a relationship. And as you're working with someone new, and it only takes one trip to sort of gel with someone. And I feel like, yeah, we just got along really well, and I loved working with Mikey, and really big fan of the way he surfs. And we did another trip to South Africa, which you were on, which was awesome, but very different brief, like very very bit more commercial and a bit more kind of client controlled. So I think we were sort of itching to do something that was probably more suited to Mikey and myself's vibe, and something we had a bit more creative freedom. And yeah, I know Mikey was kind of chatting to VANS, and they've actually been a pretty awesome client, and very hands off. But yeah, how did all that come about too, Mikey? Just the kicking things off with VANS.
I guess great timing because, working again together, and then obviously things with fans had, been I've been writing for VANS for like a year or something. And yeah, I just remember, obviously having the idea of working on something creative. And I remember you asking me, I think it was already in Fiji, you were asking me, like what plans did I have? And I didn't really know exactly what it would be, but it would be something with VANS. And yeah, I felt like everything just, fell into place really nicely. And we got talking on those trips and got to know each other.
Like, it was almost too good to be true. We
Yeah.
kind of had a bit of a brief. We had pretty grand visions of, you had India on your kind of short list, and I just found this, I was pretty jazzed. I found this amazing street photography book on India, and I'm like, wow, that would be so amazing. I feel like the music and the culture, and we can sort of touch on that, how the music's probably a big part of the project as well. How the original idea was to immerse ourselves into different locations and investigate music and the local music, and see how that can mix with the surfing and the visuals. And India it was all happening. We had the team, the camera team, everything was like ready to roll. And obviously COVID kind of changed things. And everything got iced. And I actually thought, I was like, oh, the project's been completely shelved. Like, that's a bit of a bummer. It's just one of those ones that, it wasn't meant to be. But through COVID, VANS was so cool in giving us an opportunity to try and work on this project still remotely, which is pretty unique. And we weren't really sure how that was gonna play, especially with, I mean, you can talk a little bit more about the restrictions and how things were in Africa, but yeah, how was that? Like, or maybe take us back to kind of lockdown and trying to kick a project off.
It was pretty amazing because the whole, I guess, like with VANS and stuff, like no more events, no more US Open, no more Triple Crown, like all that kind of stuff. And it was quite a blessing that, they were like, you guys can still go ahead and, film this project. And, it wasn't under the, circumstances that we wanted to, like obviously having you on the trip and stuff. And it was pretty cool because, it kind of just, kind of refreshed the whole trip and the whole mindset, because we had to kind of take it on completely differently.
Yeah, definitely the approach.
Yeah, completely. Obviously not having you on the trip and not going to places like India, and, all of a sudden we decided to, start off in South Africa, which was awesome, because I guess it makes, having a series like this, it almost makes more sense to start off in your home country kind of thing. So it kind of worked out perfectly. And yeah. Yeah, it was such a weird, situation, because we were talking about doing this trip, but still weren't allowed to surf. And, it's kind of hard when you're planning a project like this and you're literally not allowed to surf in the country that you're in. And I think, up until we started filming, it was maybe like 60 days, 2 months without surfing,
Wow.
which was
Good
pretty
prep.
crazy. Yeah, good
Good
break.
prep to get some clips.
I know. I was like, when we went on the first trip, I was kind of nervous. I was like, I haven't surfed for 2 months. Like, I got to warm up and be ready for this. But yeah, it was crazy. It's just such a different time. And, I think kind of, working on the project in South Africa is, it's very like appropriate, just during this time. I feel like a lot of people have been, no one's traveling and stuff. And you all of a sudden, start to just, I don't know, like look at the place where you're from and, where you live and your family and things like that. And it was kind of cool to be able to, take a step back and focus on South Africa and what we have here, which was pretty awesome.
I think you were saying it was and it's probably for a lot of people in our industry, and that was the most time you've spent at home in probably maybe, I don't know, 10 years, like a little bit less, but like, it was like, wow, I can actually take my time to, chase swells and be home for them, and travel up the east and west coast, which is a bit of a blessing.
Yeah, I mean, normally, our best time of year is that, winter time, like June, July, August, and normally we, traveling somewhere else, and we kind of get all these photos from back home, and the waves are absolutely firing, and it was perfect timing because, South Africa, we have such an insane, wave-rich country, and it's, pretty, a lot of people just think about J Bay and stuff, but I mean, we have so many world-class waves. It was pretty special to be able to be home and just like hunting that and kind of just, yeah, it was perfect. Really, it was nice.
I was pretty baffled because I guess through the process, without skipping forward too far, but we were updating each other, and we'd kind of check in, but at the same time, it was cool. We kind of gave, same with you when I was in the editing process, we gave each other kind of a little bit of breathing room, and a chance to do our own thing. You kind of set a bit of a guide and a bit of a brief, but once I finally got like all the sessions, I'd been getting frame grabs and updates. I was like, damn, the waves are pretty good. Like I was like really surf side, especially being a natural footer and looking at all these sand bottom barreling points. I was like, are you kidding me? Like,
yeah.
This is such what an epic like coastline, and what an epic place to be a surfer. Yeah, I was pretty locked in the edit suite here for however long I was pretty surf frothy. Just those waves appealed to me.
We're talking about go to India and all those places, and obviously we're so frothed to all go together, and all of a sudden, obviously not being able to come to South Africa, and then, all the hard drives would arrive like 2-3 weeks later. It must have been so crazy to watch all of that and be like, I don't know, like almost just reliving it a couple of weeks after us.
Yeah, definitely different, a lot different from how I kind of work on projects. I guess as a filmmaker, my style's I like to be a bit of an observer, and so I like to be on location. I like to capture real people and real moments, and let scenes sort of relax and not make it too forced or too weird, and be very observational. And I guess that was our approach for the project. We didn't want it to be too doco. We didn't want it to be too talking head on camera. You know what I mean? This was more of an experience. So I was really trying to give like Paul and the other cameraman and you like as much kind of freedom and stuff, and just shoot the shit out of it as well, because I want you to lean into those moments that like might find somewhere in the edit. But on the flip side, yeah, there was a mountain of footage to go through, but it was really fun. It was like, yeah, it's kind of like you just work through it, and because there was so much, it was literally like I was on the trip with you guys, because I'm like, here's today, start to finish. You know what I mean? Like, just chop, and you'd start to get a bit of a flow, and yeah, it was usually when I'm on a trip, I'm kind of already processing the edit. Like I'm like, this is going to go in the film. Oh, this is gold. And you kind of already get a vibe, but like, yeah, starting from scratch, it was just working it and working it. And yeah, it was cool. It was fun. It was just a very different approach not being there for sure. But it was, yeah, in saying that, it was also cool not being there because I kind of get someone else's eye, and then it's collaboration, which is cool. You know what I mean? Like, gave Mikey a Super 8 camera and just said, go for it, dude. Like, this is your project too. Like, shoot what you think is cool. Like, shoot what catches your eye and you know, what's happening around there. So, which I think kind of worked. I don't know, Mikey, how was it like just diving into the filming and I guess us talking about it, but me not being there, it seemed like it was pretty relaxed.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was pretty fun because obviously, you know, even though you did give us a brief, it was pretty open, you know, like, you know, certain styles of shooting certain things, you know, whether it was like the lifestyle stuff or the surfing. And it kind of made it fun for us because it was like we had this brief and like we would, you know, kind of have a look at that and then, you know, whatever we were doing, we would approach it in that way. But obviously it wouldn't come out exactly like the references or whatever because it was unique to the trip. So
Yeah, I think in regards to the project and the tone, me and Mikey, you know, really wanted to explore, like, Africa has such like a rich culture and a rich history, and I know Mikey's a huge fan of African music, and especially like older music from the 60s and 70s and 50s. And I know he was sharing some archives of me of some stuff, and it really kind of set the tone, and it just felt really kind of natural to the process. But our original intention was to kind of, you know, go around together and explore musicians and try and get sound bites and just have this kind of montage sonic sound wave that would kind of blend with the visuals. And given our circumstances, that was a little tricky, but through Mikey and some, you know, some of his friends in Africa, we got put onto amazing artists, Madala, and they shared some references with me, and yeah, we actually ended up bringing him into the project. And yeah, I wasn't there for the studio sessions or hanging out and having conversations with Madala, but do you want to give us a bit of a backstory of your experiences? And he was a bit of a legend from what I hear.
yeah, yeah, my dad is he's amazing. It was super special to be able to work with him. I mean, like you said, you know, we had all these references of, you know, old album, like, you know, African albums and stuff, and mostly South African. And obviously we had this idea of what it, you know, what it would look and sound like. But after hearing him play and recording those tracks and stuff, I mean, you know, just, you know, the way the form is, I guess, like, you know, being inclusive and having someone who's from there, you know, provide the soundtrack to the film is, you know, I can't really imagine it any other way after, you know, seeing his music to the surfing and the whole film. It's, you know, kind of, it's all a part of what we experienced on that trip. So it was pretty cool. I think we started filming, you know, maybe a couple weeks into winter. And I remember obviously with COVID and stuff, like, you know, there were a couple weeks where the waves were pumping and no one could surf. I mean, so yeah, that was pretty, I mean, I saw videos of, you know, people like JV, there was absolutely no one and it was firing. And, you know, it was pretty cool when we got to, you know, start filming and stuff. We just, you know, hit the road straight away. I think it was myself, Paul, Alan, and Delty, my wife. And it was rad. You know, there's so many good waves in South Africa, especially during winter, that, you know, we went everywhere from the West Coast to Cape Town, and then we went back on the East Coast and we did J Bay, and then you know, what was really cool, we also got to go to Transkei, which is kind of, call it like closer to Durban, but kind of in between Durban and Jeffreys Bay. And it's, you know, I've never actually been there before, so, you know, to be able to do the trip for the project was kind of had that little element of, you know, going somewhere and experiencing somewhere new for the first time. And it's so crazy how you could, you know, never have been to a place in your own country. And you know, that was quite an eye-opener, and it was pretty special. And
How was the locals and the tribes that you spent some time with there too?
I was stoked. Yeah, I mean, they welcomed us in, and it was amazing. I mean, obviously, we had a friend from where I grew up, and he kind of has a lot of connections there and stuff. So when we went there, we were just, you know, completely welcomed in. I mean, we got to meet the chief, and, you know, just that whole, I mean, it's just an amazing part of South Africa. I mean, there's so many, you know, different tribes and stuff. And it's beautiful. I mean, it's amazing.
And how good's surfing a right point break with no one out?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's it was pretty amazing. It's crazy. I mean, it's very rare these days to be able to, you know, come across a right hand point break with no one out. So it was pretty special.
It was cool. It was a cool little team. I feel like having, you know, without, last thing you want to do, especially going to places that are remote and Transkei, is be invasive. And I think having Paul as the main cameraman, and just with Mikey and Zelty and even AVG shot a couple of my favorite shots just on GoPro in the water, some lifestyle stuff. So everyone just kind of having, you know, that's cool these days to have access to a camera. And we were pretty open to formats. We used multiple formats, as you can kind of tell in the edit, which I think suits the kind of the style of the project. And it's, you know, it can be a little bit jarring, but it's really raw. And I think that blends with the raw landscape and also the music. And it's, it was cool not to be just like, we have to shoot it on this camera. It was like, let's just shoot. Yeah. Like, shoot it on an iPhone if you want, but have fun with it and just capture what's happening. So yeah, I'm stoked everyone pulled a camera out, and we kept it just like a core little crew without heaps of camera crew. Yeah, it was good.
Oh, it was perfect. Yeah, no, it worked really well. I think everyone had a camera in their hand every second of the trip, so it was cool to get everyone's eye in there.
It was a really fun project to work on, and yeah, hopefully people dig it, and hopefully we get to do it again, and we can actually jump on a trip together, and I can roll camera too. That'd be amazing. So
I know.
Thanks to VANS for being legend clients. That let these projects kind of happen, because it's pretty rare these days, and hopefully the viewers out there enjoy it and get something out of it, and you know, can get inspired to surf and dig up some good music and just shoot their own projects.
Thanks, Kai. I'm super excited for everyone to watch this finally.
Crack a beer, get a cup of tea, coffee, wherever you are in the world. It's global online premiere these days. We can't crowd the theaters out, which we like we used to, which is a bit of fun. But this stuff's cool. So see you again.